All right, Eric, wanted to get this video on out to you. So we worked a little bit on our tilt and turn, definitely worked on our grip, stance, and posture, which I'm going to get the larger video on out to you. But this one's going to be kind of more of that tilt and turn drill that we kind of did with our foam noodle across our chest there. So if we look at the gentleman here on the left, the first when we first started here, let's just kind of take a look at our shoulder turn. Okay, you can see at this point we've got really low hands. Let me kind of get some lines in here. Right, you can see our shoulders really haven't even turned to 90 degrees at any point. They're probably at 45 degrees. Okay, when we come on over here to the gentleman on the right hand side, let's take a look. Much deeper shoulder turn, as you can see here. Now you've turned behind the ball in a good manner. Okay, we still need to kind of, one thing I kind of see here, and I'm looking in on it, if you see this heel right here, okay, we want to try to get our weight transferred into that heel when we turn back, not into our toe. Okay, so when you rotate your chest back like that, make sure that you're getting your right hip to go back behind you, and the load pressure, or the pressure we should feel, is going more into the heel of the club or of the foot than in our toe. Okay, so once again, let's just kind of look through that again. All right, big difference in our degree of rotation there. So keep working on this drill a little bit. As I suggested, do it in a mirror, face on, and then move the mirror or move yourself so you can see it down the line a little bit and start to get used to what your body positions are supposed to look like. All right, Eric, if you have any questions, please let me know. As I said, please send me a few videos of what you're working on. If you have any questions, as I said, please let me know, and I'll talk to you real soon. See you, buddy. Bye. Eric, wanted to get this other video on out to you, so I've got you paired up next to Nelly Corda right here. And the thing I want to kind of highlight in this video right here is what we want to kind of do with our arm structure a little bit as far as our wrist hinge and trying to keep our left arm a little bit more straight on the way back. So let's kind of take a look at you here a little bit. You can see that we start to break that left arm quite a bit. We're starting to get a wrist hinge. You're developing a wrist hinge, but now we're starting to break that left elbow. Okay, we can see with Nelly here as she kind of starts back a little bit. Okay, as she goes. Okay, hands are a little bit closer to her body, not getting out so far away. Okay, developing a nice wrist hinge here. And then trying to keep her left arm pretty well straight. Okay, and making sure that she lets her shoulders and chest rotate in a good manner. Okay, so big thing for us, right? Let's just try to feel like when our hands just get past our right foot here, we start to hinge up a little bit. Oop, right? I'm gonna get this. Oop. Want to feel like we're, once we get our hands right about here, okay, we want to start developing this hinge that's going to start coming with the club. Let's take a look at Nelly here. All right, so you can see that her hands are just past her foot. She's starting to hinge up a little bit. She gets to a full hinge up when she's right here, which is a good position. She's created a nice L here, right in line with her chest or her sternum. And then she just kind of rotates her shoulders and chest up to the top here before she stops. Okay, so I just wanted to get that video on out to you so you kind of see what we want to kind of do or emulate with our arm structure a little bit as we go through. Okay, so hopefully that helps. As I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. And as always, please send me a few videos of what you're working on so I can help you out. All right, buddy. Talk to you then. See ya. Yeah, if you hit it pretty good, it usually comes back to you, which is convenient, right? You don't get that out on the driving range.
No.
Base angle's closed. Match factor's not bad. Okay.
I think like I think the biggest thing I feel like I can kind of go here. But when I start to do like go up a little bit more, then I just
lose control, right? It's like you're kind of pushing the club instead of pulling it through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and hit a few more. Then we'll take a look at the video analysis on it,
Okay.
right? And you can take a look and we'll kind of talk about it. Go. Where do you typically play at?
I live by. Do you know where Heritage Isles is? I live literally right there. So
Do you really?
I go to their driving range, and I've never played the course yet, but
You haven't?
no.
It's a great little track. You'll love it, man.
Sometimes I go to the driving range over off of just around the corner, actually, by the there's like a Thai restaurant. I don't know what it's called.
Green Chasers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my buddy Kyle owns that. We play a lot. We actually played golf yesterday.
Yeah, I like going there and just hit stuff.
All right, so let's take a look at the old swing here, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we'll kind of get rid of all this jazz here for you. All right, let's just kind of take that out and we'll just kind of take a look, see what we're doing here, okay? All right, so first things first, okay? When I take a look at our setup here a little bit, I can see that with our shoulders, we're a little bit open, okay? So we're going to kind of work on that a little bit, okay? The other thing is that we want to kind of, I'm going to take a look at our grip and see where we're at there. I've got a little grip minder here. I'm going to have your hands in there. It's probably going to feel a lot different than what you got, okay? And that's going to be a big key for today, okay? Yeah. I don't want to feed you 10 things,
Sure.
right? And you're swimming in your head. So we want to try to stick with our grip stance and posture today as much as possible, okay? Okay. Now as we kind of come on in here, you'll notice, right, one thing with JT here that we're starting to see is a little bit of a wrist hinge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you see how he's starting to get the club elevated? Okay. Now the big problem for you, okay, with your swing as far as what we're doing with inside the swing is that you get the club a little bit too inside here and you're kind of short a little bit. You see where you're at right there? Okay. So now you haven't really, you've kind of gotten yourself here, but you haven't really gotten your arms up enough so you can start generating some power and speed a little bit, okay? So you're kind of strapped to your side here, and then what you're just trying to do is you're just trying to push the club as fast as you can down there, right?
That's definitely what it feels like.
Okay, good, good. All right. And then as we come on through here, you can kind of see that we have what we call a little bit of an early release, okay? You kind of keep the wrist flat here a little bit, okay? But you can see just a little bit when Justin gets into position here. You see where his hands are compared to his shaft, okay?
Yeah.
Your shaft and hands are pretty well neutral,
Yeah.
okay? So that would probably, we don't have a low point here on this one, but I could tell that there was a few things because of our open shoulders, okay, and the way that we're swinging the club, we're getting really over the top, and probably more or less for you, your big miss is probably just a big pull left. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay. Okay. Good. We're getting some movement out of that foot, getting that right knee, that trail knee going down the target line, which is good. Okay. So let's kind of start here. Anything that you see that you have questions about that you'd be like, hey, I need to zone in on that, or I'm focused on that.
I mean, I don't know how important standing the distance to the ball. Sometimes I get in my head about that. I'm like, acting like I got to be perfect. And then the other thing too is just where the ball should be in line with my.
Perfect. Let's start with that, okay? And then we'll come back to your grip, okay? Let me grab something real quick for you. So let's grab this thing here, okay? And let me kind of explain this here real quick to you. Okay, so I'm going to put this down on the ground. A very simple little thing here, okay? But you can see where our feet kind of go here a little bit here, right? Okay, so we're going to kind of put our feet in that same position. That's good, okay? Now, getting a kind of a good understanding about ball position in this direction, okay? And then we're going to talk about distance away from the ball next, okay? So as you can see, that we have a lot of balls right up here at the top, right, in different color coding, right? So for about a pitching wedge to an 8-iron, you see where this ball is? That's about where we want to play that, okay? So pretty much right in line with our sternum, okay? Or maybe just a little ahead, okay? But not behind it, okay? Now once I get to about a 7 to a 5-iron, right about here, about a ball up, as you can kind of see, and then so forth and so. But once we probably get to the driver, we're probably going to be about here with this blue, or right about here, so we're right inside of our left heel.
Okay.
Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we will be utilizing as far as distance in this direction is from about center to about where our left heel is.
Okay.
Okay. So the ball will lie between these two areas right here,
Okay.
depending on what club we have.
Okay.
Okay. And that's going to be varied by the length of the club.
Okay.
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 Now let me talk about distance away from the ball. Let me grab the club here real quick and kind of give you a good understanding, right? So my distance away from the ball is going to be different than yours.
Okay.
Your arms, tall, all that stuff, right? So I can't just say, hey, it's going to be 5 feet or 6 feet or whatever, you know, a numerical number, right? So a great way to kind of do that is I kind of put a little fist right here and I stick my thumb out just a little bit where my belly button is. And then I just put it right about where the butt of the club is right there, okay? Typically what we find, okay, as a rule of thumb, okay, is that my hands are going to be underneath my chin. Okay, so that's going to be a pretty good position. If you find yourself really inside, okay, that's not good. And if we find our hands way outside, kind of out by our nose or by our forehead or something like that, that's not good, okay? We want to have the feeling, as far as distance away from the ball, if I was going to pick up a 50-pound sack of potatoes, right, that distance I would have, right? I wouldn't be out over here, right? And I wouldn't be in over here, right? So I want to get in a good balanced position where I can hold that weight and I can swing this club. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's really helpful.
Okay. So I'm going to have you, what is this? What do we have? A 7-iron? Okay. So that's going to be played just about right here. Okay. I'm going to have you get your feet into this position, get the club going just like that. Okay. And what you're probably going to notice is that the ball seems maybe a little bit more up than what you're used to. Okay. But just kind of give that a visual right there. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like normally I was kind of here.
Okay.
So that, yeah.
Okay, so now you feel like your arms are hanging off your shoulders very naturally.
Yeah.
You're not having any push or anything like that, which is good, okay? We want to, you know, like any other sport, right? We don't want to put a lot of tension in anything. We want to be able to move and be loose, right? Okay. So, any questions about that?
No, that's all.
Okay. So, you know, what you can kind of do for practice and stuff like this is you can kind of get one of those alignment rods, what we have right back over here. Okay, you can go to like Home Depot and buy one for a couple bucks or something, very cheap, right? And what I would do is I would just take like little tape, masking tape, put one in the center, then maybe take a ball, put another little piece of masking tape, and something like that. Doesn't have to be expensive, just something simple, visual aid for you, okay? So that's what I would kind of do as far as ball position, so you start to get used to where that ball needs to be, okay? The other thing, as you kind of practice a little bit, I would just kind of get myself set up, right, in a good position, okay, where I kind of feel like my hands are underneath the line here, so we get a visual of where that is, okay? And that's just going to be some things that we need to work on when we're out there on the range. Okay? All right, first things first, let us talk about our grip. I want to kind of give you an idea about the grip, and then we'll kind of work around that, okay? All right, so what we're going to do, we'll do this together, okay? You can go ahead and grab your club, okay? We're going to take it, and we're going to feel it in the fingers. Okay, left hand. Then we're going to take our right hand as so. We're going to interlock it. Okay, we want to feel it right along our fingers here. Okay, and as I tell my juniors, here's the piggy, here's the blanket. Wrap that piggy in a blanket. Okay, so what you should notice, and I'm going to give you this grip minder in just a sec, but what we should start to feel, okay, is it more in the fingers. Okay, we should feel this pad over top of our club here a little bit, and we should be able to hinge up and move our wrists very freely. okay?
Okay.
Right? If I get that in a bad position or if I get it more in the palms, then it starts to become very heavy,
Yeah.
okay? So remember, we want to try to feel it more in the fingers, that left pad over top, okay? That way we can control the club face as much as possible.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this grip minder, okay? Okay. So go ahead and put that, you'll feel the mold for your fingers. Perfect. And then that. Okay. All right. So that's just a little kid's training club that I've cut down and stuff like that. So, but what we want to kind of do, right, is we want to work on our grip probably for about 15 to 20 minutes a night, you know, depending on if we're watching a TV program or a movie or something like that. But something that we start to get a feel for where our hands need to be.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you, is that feel normal to what you usually do or a little bit different?
I think a little bit different. I think I don't want to say I fully baseballed it because I kind of just like rested my finger up here.
Okay.
But I definitely felt like I'm squeezing it pretty hard.
Okay.
For some reason.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is this hand felt like maybe more so it was kind of just resting and versus it feels a little bit different to.
Like you got a little bit more grip on it now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So let's kind of come on over here and we'll do that again. Okay. Let you do this. Okay, so let's kind of do it together here. Okay. So remember, in the fingers. Okay. What I like to kind of do is, and we don't say this very much anymore, shoot the gun. Okay.
Yeah.
Used to be able to say that in the 90s with no problem. Now in the 2000s, it's a little different. Anyway, all right, so we take our pinky, right? We hook that around, and it's going to be right along the fingers, okay, on both sides. And then piggy, blanket, wrap the piggy in a blanket, okay? And you'll happen to notice your thumb is kind of off the shaft a little bit, okay? Because once we put that thumb on the shaft, go ahead and put the thumb on there, okay, and press that down on it a little bit. Feel that tension going up your arm?
Yeah.
Not good.
Okay.
Okay, less tension's better in the golf swing.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I want you to kind of re-grip it just for a couple minutes here, okay?
Yep.
And I want you to kind of give me some feedback of what you kind of feel and what you're kind of thinking, okay?
Okay. I definitely feel like I'm wanting to
Mm-hmm.
put this hand more in my palm, but so it's more here.
Yeah, so here, let me kind of help you out, big guy. Kind of get you right here. So we want to kind of go from here, that knuckle to this knuckle. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. Then we'll bring this guy on in. Good. Now that thumb may be, this thumb, here, let me take this guy. This thumb's probably going to be just a little bit on the left-hand side a little bit.
Okay.
Or the right-hand side, I'm sorry. Okay. And there you go. Good. Good. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so once we get down there, okay, we'll just get that straightened up too. So now you'll start to notice that this V is pointing up towards your chin.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's pointing towards your right shoulder, which is correct.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we want to kind of do.
Okay.
What I would suggest to you is to go on Amazon, get you a little grip minder.
Yeah.
I think $7. Jeff Bezos will get one to your door today. I promise you.
Okay.
Right? He'll probably send it on one of those little Amazon cart things or something. All right? So with that being said, let's kind of talk about our posture now and our setup, okay? So now that we've kind of done our grip and everything like that, do we have any questions?
You might be getting into it with next, but is where I'm at here good? Like my wrist is kind of at the top of the club, or should I be lower, higher?
No, you're fine, you're
Okay.
fine. So you'll happen to notice that the club is a little tapered, right? It's a little bit thicker on this
Yeah.
end than it is this end. And that's to help with this pad being over top.
Okay.
Okay, that's what that's designed for. So we want to try to get out to the end of the club as we can. Now there are going to be situations when we get a little tense, a little scared, right? That we might want to choke down to control the club face a little bit. So don't be worried about that, okay? All right, so let's talk about posture, okay? Let's kind of do this together. So we're going to stand right here next to each other, okay? We're going to put the club out in front of us like we did, okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to take your right hand, I want you to put it right where your belt buckle would be, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to push our hips back just a little bit till we feel a little tension. We want our feet together. There you go, okay? Now we feel a little tension in our hamstrings. We want to crack our knees, okay? We're going to take equal steps, okay? Now we just want to let the club come and rest down, Good. Good position, okay? So a few things that we'll start to see is now your hip is stacked over your ankle joint, which is really good. Your arms are hanging off your shoulders naturally, what we want, okay? And the only thing I need to kind of do here just a little bit is I'm going to come on in here on you and turn that. And now we've got kind of some closed shoulders, okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So when you say open before, I was kind of doing this.
Yeah, so if I look down the target line, right, you were like this.
I see.
Right? And your path, your swing path was going this way.
Right.
Okay? And you had a closed club face, so it kept going left.
Versus
Right?
forward.
Right? So it's just going to be maybe straight on or maybe just a little closed here a little bit. Okay? And that's going to help us get to the inside part of the ball. Right? But once I start to kind of do this, then my swing path starts to get over the top.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, with that being said, any questions?
I don't think so yet.
Okay, so that's about as much as we're going to try to do. Okay, there's a lot probably going on right there. There's 1,000 other things I could give you, but as I said, I don't want you swimming away on me, right? Okay, good. All right, so with that being said, let's take a few balls here and start making a motion trying to put it together. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. Oh, and let's kind of talk about this real quick. Let's talk about kind of the backswing just a little bit here. I said we were going to talk about that. So go ahead through your setup here just a little bit. Okay, good. All right, arms hanging off our shoulders naturally. Good. All right, so I'm going to move this guy on in here just a little bit, okay? Now what I want you to kind of do, and this is the way that we want to kind of practice just a little bit, is I want you to feel like you're sliding this shaft along this rail here. All right, so we're going to be kind of like this as we kind of go. Okay, so that's the beginnings of our takeaway. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least that's the first 3 feet that we're kind of focusing on just a little bit, right? That's going to keep our hands and everything on plane, okay? But for you, right, you could kind of see in the video that you're kind of getting back in here,
Yeah.
right? So we want to feel like that club, right? If there's a big circle out here, we want to try to keep our hands in this circle as we come through.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. All right, so here you go. Come on up and make a backswing for me. I'm going to help you out here. Yep. Straighten up this arm. There you go, just a little bit. There you go. Okay, so you can see here, right, when we look at Justin Thomas, see how his left arm stays straight? Okay, for you, okay, once you get your arms past this point, you start to break down this left elbow, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so it's okay if it's just a little bent or a little soft, but if it starts to break down like this, then you start to move your circle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start over again here. Okay, we're gonna give you a hand here. Good. Here. Yep. Down. And then through.
Okay.
Good. Let your right foot come through for me, partner. There you go. Okay, let's do it one more time for you. Okay. Up. Back down. And through.
Okay.
Good job. Okay? All right, give yourself a couple swings. Get used to that, right? We got a new grip, new posture. There you go.
See, I think when it feels good here, and then I think I bend. Is it more? It's more wrist up here.
Well, the big issue that we're kind of having here is your hands are running away from your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I got you here, okay, so go ahead, take the club back. You're doing good. Then I want to feel like chop.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. For you right now, you're just kind of
Yeah, I'm just
wait, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that you're bending your elbow is because we haven't bent our wrist, right? Our wrist stays straight, and then you're like, I'll bend this to get that angle. You know you need to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So as you come on back over here, back, feel that wrist hinge right there? Good. Okay. Once again, boom. Okay. Once our hand gets past our right foot here, okay, we want to start to hinge up.
Okay.
We just don't want to keep having that club go away from us.
Yeah.
Okay? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's get our feet a little bit closer together. There we go. Good, 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 good. So here you go. Set up again for me. Okay, I'll give you a feel here. So start bringing it on back for me. There you go. Feel how you're wound up now? Mm-hmm. Okay, now you can get back down to that ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, give you that feel again, okay? Set up, feel like you're standing tall for me. There you go, good, good. So as we come, feel how that shoulder goes down? Mm-hmm. Good, okay, much better, okay? That's more where we want our left arm right there, okay? Now just come on through for me. Okay, feel like we have a little bit more speed?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. All right. How's our posture feel? Arms are hanging off our shoulders naturally, right?
Yeah, I think sometimes I gotta just like readjust, loosen up a little bit.
I got you. Absolutely. It's new. It's new, right? Left hand on top. So I'm going to kind of do this just a little bit to you. Take this guy off real quick. There you go. Now I'll bring him on in. There you go. Yeah, I know the face is a little bit off, so keep your hands there. There you go. Okay, good. 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 There you go. Good job. Good. There you go. Good. Good. All right, let's hit a few here. Okay. Now we don't need to kill it. Okay. Just want to hit some small little punch shots where we're starting to get through there. Okay. All right. So kind of do it like this. Let me kind of show you here. So go ahead, set up for me, big guy. Okay. I'm just going to kind of take it, get on up to about here. Feel that wrist hinge, and just feel like we're hitting down and through it. Okay. And I'm going to do this to kind of motivate you a little bit, or incentivize. All right, I'm going to put this little thing right here in front, okay? Now your job is to get that ball and that tee out of the ground, okay? Let's see you do it. Okay, good. Okay, let's see if we got a little something here. All right, get that thing out of the ground for me. There you go. Okay, good job. Okay. I just want to see one thing. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. All right, so what we're going to kind of focus on here for the next 5 or 6 shots, you see this number right here? We're going to try to get that to be an A. Okay? Right now you're hitting behind the ball, like you said. Okay? And this shows me that you're hitting it 1.9 inches before the ball. Okay? We want to get you at least 1.9 after the ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I need you to feel like you're hitting more down on that golf ball.
Yeah.
Okay? Than having that little early release with our wrists.
Got it.
Okay? So let me just kind of demonstrate what we're going to kind of do here real quick, kind of help you out. Just give you a visual.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay? So as I kind of have this right here like that, I'm just going to try to hit little punch shots here to get that low point down. That's all I'm really trying to focus on here. Okay? So my low point was, where is it at? 5, way too much. Okay, way too much for what I need. Okay, but I'm just trying to demonstrate what we're trying to go for. Does that make sense, big guy?
Yep.
Okay. There we go. Here's your club. Very good. All right, and we're going to focus on getting this out of the ground. Okay, does that make sense, big guy?
Yep.
All right. Let's try to go with that. Just try to hit some shots. Down and through. Okay, good. All right, let's try it again. Okay, feel our grip in our fingers, arms hanging off our shoulders naturally. Good. There you go. Good job. You see what we got right there? Good job. How did that feel for us?
Yeah, I felt a difference.
Okay, good.
Do it even more.
You got it. Let's hit down on it. Okay, a little small punch shot. All right, we really got down after that one, didn't we? Okay. Okay, but the big thing is now we're changing your angle of attack. Okay, so that's big for our irons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going. You're doing good. Okay. Feel like that's kind of one ball up in our setup, right? So let me try to see if I can give you a feel. Go ahead and set up for me, big guy. Mm-hmm. Doing good. All right, try to give you a little feel for this. So bring it on back for me. All right, so we're going to hinge right here. Now what I want you to kind of feel like is that you're driving the butt of this club back down towards that ball. See how we get that forward shaft lean that we're looking for? And that's going to get us in a good position right there. Okay? We don't want to kind of have here and then kind of start releasing back over here.
Okay.
Okay? So we want to kind of have that feeling. Okay, and I'm going to kind of help you out. Down, okay, down, okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead and just give me a couple swings, okay. You could even do this if you want, kind of pump the club out in front of you. Yep, just a little bit, right? And then try to get that feeling of swinging down and through, okay? Good. All right, let that right side come through too. All right, so here we go. One more time, up, all right, boom, feel that, okay, good.
It kind of comes in.
Yeah, it's going to come on into your elbow, or your elbow is going to come into your side just a little bit. We're trying to keep that elbow in front of us, and we want to keep that chest rotating and turning at this point. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, once again, good, getting a good wrist angle, and then down and through, okay? All right, so if I kind of did this, let me see if you could just do it naturally. If I kind of did this to you. So go ahead and do that, okay? I need you to hit underneath this, okay? Hit underneath that. It's okay. Feel like you're going to hit underneath that. Okay, good. All right, feel like you're going to hit underneath that. Okay, good. One more. Feel like you're going to hit underneath that thing. Good. All right, one more for me, big guy. Feel like you're going to hit underneath that. Okay. That's going to be the big thing for you. Yeah. Okay? That's going to be a big thing for you right there, is getting your angle of attack down a little bit. Yeah. Okay? All right. Let's do it again. Okay. Right? You feel our grip in our fingers. Very good. Feel like we're standing tall, arms hanging off our shoulders naturally. Good. Okay. Good. Okay, good. Your angle of attack was down, which is good. Okay, what we're trying to go for today. Good. Okay. Grip stance and posture. Good. Here we go. There you go. Good job. Good job right there. Okay, just takes time. All right, be patient with yourself. It's a game for a lifetime. It takes a long time. Okay, good. Good wrist angle right there. Good job. Okay, a little bit before it, right? Okay, a little scoopy, but that's okay. Much better than the 1.9 that we were getting before. Okay, good. All right. Feel like you're standing tall, right? Good.
Myself.
Okay.
Come up.
Okay. All right. Okay. Give me one here, and we're going to take a look on video, okay? See how we're doing, okay, big guy? All right, standing tall. Good. Good swing. How'd that one feel, partner?
Pretty good.
Okay. So we got ourselves to the 1.9 after. Okay, let's take a look at a few of the numbers here, okay? Low point was after, which is good. What we're kind of trying to go for a little bit, okay? Let's see what our smash. Our club path, a little open with an open face, okay? That's fine, okay? Because you were having, your path is good, okay? When we first got in here, you didn't know it, but you're way over the top. You're about 10 degrees over the top. So now you're swinging out towards the right, out towards the second baseman is what we want, okay? Your face was just a little bit open, okay? So in the world of golf, if my path is 4 degrees open, I need this to be close to whatever that number is. Okay, that's going to bring the ball back online. Does that make sense? Face to path angle, and that is represented by this number right here. Okay, so your face was open as you came through impact a little bit. Okay, any questions about the numbers? Yeah.
Does open mean like this way?
Yes. Yes, so your open club face is going to be like this. Closed is going to be like this. So that is represented by your face angle, right? Your face was probably like about that when it came through impact. Okay.
More.
Well, we want it to kind of be square,
Sure.
right? As we come on through here, I'd like for it to kind of be a square face to a right path, which is going to get to the inside part of the ball and give us our push draw that so many people desire. Any other questions right there real quick? Okay, good. All right, so let's take a look at our setup here a little bit. Okay, looking better, looking like we're standing a little bit taller. Might need to close in that shoulder just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, much better job with maintaining your angle there, okay? Good job of maintaining your wrist angle and hitting down and through it, okay? Now, a few things that we still need to kind of work on, right? And we'll get to these things, right? Is that we got a little bit of a lateral sway here.
Yeah.
Okay, see that? Okay.
He's very grounded. Nothing's moving except his shoulders, it looks like.
Right, so
Hips.
what we can't show and what we can't see here, right, is what ground pressure he's putting into the ground. You're putting your pressure, and I'm not trying to get too ahead of you here, but your pressure is going off to the right here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his pressure is going into the ground. That's the difference. That's the big difference, right? So as you start to go, right, you kind of go like this, and it's kind of like if I was a skater on ice, I'm kind of skating along here, right? For him, he's putting pressure into the ground, which he's going to receive later when he comes through on his follow-through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as he gets here, he's pushing into the ground, okay? And then he's using that force to recenter himself and then to laterally turn and rotate up. It might be a little bit too much, but I want you to understand that with your ground pressure being what it is, okay? Your hips are going off to the side here, and we'll have that represented by hip line here. All right, we kind of take a look. Right, if we take a look at his hips, see how it stays pretty well center?
Yeah.
Right, yours have started here. Just going to get a line. Now they're over here. Okay. Now the big thing is, and we're just represented by our hips, but what do you think that does to our eyes? Does that make sense?
Right.
Right? So you've moved your head or so 6 or 7 inches. Now, not to say that our head doesn't move, okay, but you're taking your head and you're moving it out of the hub. Right? So now your perspective of what the ball looks like is completely different, and it's going to continue to look different as we move through.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed too. I don't know if I'm getting too into detail.
No.
So like I'm starting to my left foot's lifting up. Like I'm almost. It looks kind of baseball-y a little bit, where I'm starting to really like.
Yeah, I mean you're getting yourself really behind the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, which, you know, probably for a driver it might be okay a little bit, but when we start talking about the irons, you're just starting to drift a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, okay, I want to give you a tilt and turn drill so you get a good feel for this. Okay. All right, so we're going to give you a drill here so you feel more of what your turn needs to be, so you start to feel it with your body.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions, big guy?
No.
All right, my man. All right, so we're going to take this thing. Actually, we'll just take this guy right here. This guy's perfect. So I'm going to take this. And let me jump on in there and demonstrate for you real quick, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little foam noodle, got like a little piece of wooden dowel in there. I'm going to take it and put it right along my shoulder line here, okay? I don't want it down here. I want it above my neck, right? So I want it right along my shoulder line. I want to get into my golf posture, a good golf posture. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take the tip of this and turn it to the top of that, okay? And that's what I want you to focus on, okay? So as I get on in here, I'm just going to turn that down to there. Now, if you kind of look face on me, okay, right, you can see, watch my right hip as it turns, pretty well staying in place, right? My hips are, I'm not swaying over here, okay? I'm here, and I'm turning, I'm rotating around my spine here, right? If you were a shish kebab on a skewer, you're getting all wallowed out inside. Does that make sense? Right? So here, turning down, okay? You're going to notice that you're going to feel like your right foot wants to turn out and away. That's the pressure that you're going to feel going into the ground, okay, that Justin's doing right there. And then you're going to notice that as you have your back to the target and stuff, it's going to feel like it's kind of tough to breathe. It's not a very comfortable position, okay? I can guarantee you when you get over here, you're not feeling that coil, right? You're not like, whew, it's a deep breath here, okay? So here, I'm going to give that to you right there. Okay, any questions about the drill? Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to put that right along our shoulder line. Okay, good. Get into our golf posture. Okay, a little less knees and a little bit more hip. Okay, there you go. There you go. Good. Good position, right? Maybe a little bit more. There you go. Good. Okay, so now all I want you to kind of do is just turn the top of that to this. Okay? Yep, there's a golf swing. Stand up a little bit more for me. Okay, you're good. Here. And kind of get you in a good position here. There you go. Good. Okay? Good. Now go ahead and turn. Okay? Good. 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 Let's kind of do this here just a little bit. Good. Better. Good. So let's take a look at him. All right, so let's take a look at our first swing here, right? Okay. Actually, you did pretty good with your turn on that one. Okay, but let's take a look and see where we're at here. Okay, see how you're turning around your spine now?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not seeing the lateral slide that we're seeing over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is something that I would honestly say is something that you need to kind of put into practice for 15, 20 minutes a night to get this movement pattern, Okay, that's a big part. It's a movement pattern that we need to kind of make sure we have a little bit, because it's going to be very easy to want to go back to that, what is very, well, we've worked on it quite a bit, right?
Sure.
So we need to get that pattern out, or as minimal as possible, so we can get this new pattern in a little bit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go ahead and do that a couple more times for me. I want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Okay, feel like you're bending from the waist, less knee flex. Okay, good. Bending more from the waist. There we go. Good. Now we just want to kind of, I'm going to kind of do this to you just a little bit. Move it. There you go. Good. Okay, I'm going to move this guy out because you're a little bit taller than me. And let's just try to get that thing turning down to there. Yep, good. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Turn and hold for me, okay? What do you feel your right foot doing? Does it feel like it wants to turn out on you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pushing
Into the ground a little bit, right?
Make sure it doesn't.
Right, yes, yes. Now you'll also happen to notice, do you notice what your right hip is doing? Or your, if I said, what is your back wallet pocket doing now? Could you describe to me what that is?
Like here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of feels like it's pushing out this way a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But is it more going down that target line than this target line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can see, right, if I put a little line on where your back pocket probably is, right? All right, then your back pocket's over here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep going. Doing great, partner. Good.
I see what you mean about the breathing thing.
Mm-hmm. It should feel like it's a little tight inside our core. Okay? Wouldn't want to sit there and sing a song that way. Good. So much better. Yep. All right. So do you feel how your shoulders are turning against your hips now and not just everything going this way? So now you're getting that coiling factor, right? That's going to produce speed and power. Okay, it's just going to take time, right? Because we're beginning, right? But the more that you can kind of do this, the better you're going to be. Now, the big thing I would say for this drill is I would have a mirror right on here, or a video camera, whatever works best for you, right? But I would look to see my positions, make sure that I'm getting in the right position. Okay. And then what I would do is I'd also take another mirror and I'd put it over here so I see what my body's doing, okay? Now there's two things to that. One, to make sure that we're getting our body in the right position, and two, it's a visual aid to know where my body needs to be. So when I'm out there on the course, I don't have mirrors or cameras or people to tell me what position I'm in. I have to rely on feel, one, and two, imagination. Right, I've got to imagine my body being in that position, right? And the more I can kind of think about that and what it was in the mirror, the less tension of what I need to do, right? Does that make sense a little bit in a psychological way?
Yeah.
All right, big guy, keep doing this just one more time for me. Okay. Good. Mm-hmm. 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 All right. Good. Two more, please. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. All right, so one thing you're probably going to notice, or one thing that I usually hear from most of my students, is it feels like there's not a lot of movement going on.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the big key, is that most of the time what I need to do is I need to pull movements out instead of adding them in. Right. Does that make sense? So the big thing I'm pulling out for us today is try to get rid of that lateral sway.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good. Let's, where'd our club go? Oh, there it is. All right, very good. All right, so with that kind of being said, just a little bit, right? Not going to say that's going to be the be-all, end-all, right? But let's try to take a couple swings, okay? Mini swings or whatever kind of works for you. But let's try to put that feel that we just did into some type of swing of some sort, okay? Try to start making that connection a little bit maybe. Good job. How did that feel for us?
I noticed I forgot this part of it again.
That's okay. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, okay? That's why we're recording this one, and we're going to send this video out to you so you can keep watching and looking at it, okay? And keep learning. Good job. Good job. There you go. Okay, I'm going to kind of do this to you just a little bit. You're doing great. Okay, let's just put that guy right on over here. Okay, good. Good, good, good. It's okay. It's okay. Good. Feel like we're standing tall. All right. Clubbing our fingers. Very good. Good job. That one looked good. Good job. Good job. That one looked pretty good right there. Good.
That one I kind of felt like, and maybe this is okay.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I feel a lot of tension here, like where I'm locking, like I'm squeezing really.
Okay.
Almost like up here, like it feels loose everywhere else.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like,
Okay.
almost squeezing like this.
Okay, let's take a look at our grip again. Okay, let's bring in that left hand. Okay, right there. This pad over top. Okay, feel that? Okay, maybe not that much. There we go, good, good. Feel how that thumb's on the left side there? Or on the right side, I'm sorry. Just looking at it in the opposite direction. There we go, good. Okay. Now where?
Like, so back here, I feel like this is where I'm starting to squeeze, like real hard.
With your fingers and thumbs? Yeah, I think what that is that's new for you.
New, yeah.
Yeah, so what you're feeling now is basically you're starting to rub skin against skin, and it's a new feeling for you. So you'll get used to that feeling a little bit. We don't need to kill it to hold on to it, okay? The fingers are going to hold on to it, okay? But remember, we do want to hold it firm, okay? But we do want to have it so we can release the club, okay? So we want to have some mobility in our wrist. So that might be something new for you because you're so used to being in the palm and trying to control the face.
Yeah.
Now you're getting to the point where you're starting to understand that the face has to swing, right? So if I look at this piece of equipment, right, and that's exactly what this is a piece of equipment, right? That's how it wants to operate, right? Probably what you've been used to is holding it with your palm, right, and holding that face open, where you feel the pressure probably more in here now, right, or used to, right? Now you're feeling it in the fingers, and as you release the club, you're probably feeling this pressure back here maybe. Does that sound correct? Am I correct on that assumption, sir?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, good. Feeling it in the fingers. Good. Releasing that club. Okay. Good swing. Good swing right there. Good job. Okay. So as far as smash factors go, you did really well right there. 152. Okay. Meant that you're compressing the ball. You're doing as good as you could with that speed that you had right there, which is good. Good. Okay. Give me one more here and let's talk about what we need to work on, okay, my friend? Okay. Any questions before we break, though?
No.
Okay. All right, good.
I know what I'm doing. I feel it still.
Okay. That's information right there,
Yeah.
right? I know you're not doing it correctly, but at least
Yeah.
you know that what you're not doing correctly, right?
Exactly.
Before we came in here, we had no idea, right?
Yes.
So that's understanding. That's gaining knowledge. That's great. Okay. All right. Let's kind of stop there for today, okay? So let's kind of talk about the first thing. Let's talk about our grip, okay? So let's kind of stand here together and we'll do this together. Get that out of your way. Okay. So remember, with our left hand, okay, we want to put that right in the fingers. For me, I feel it from this knuckle to this knuckle in the left hand, okay? I should be able to shoot the gun, even as heavy as this club is. All right, so as we kind of go, I'm going to take this guy, hook him around from this pinky knuckle to this index finger knuckle right there, okay? Here's my piggy, here's my blanket. Wrap that piggy in a blanket, okay? Now the big thing for us is making sure we get that pad over top of the club right there and making sure that the thumb is just laying on the right side of the shaft, okay? A lot of people say, well, why do they have the label right here? Don't worry about that. I don't know why, okay? But get your thumb on the left side of that shaft just a little bit. That's going to put you in a good, strong position to use that club. Now let's talk about our posture, right? Let's go through our posture, okay? We're going to put our feet together, okay? Arms out, okay? Let's take our right hand, put it right there on our belt buckle. We're going to push back till we feel just slight tension in our hamstrings. We're going to crack our knees just a little bit, take equal steps, okay? And then put our hand back on and just allow the club to drop down naturally, okay? Right? A good rule of thumb that we talked about is we want to have our hands underneath our chin. And as far as our posture goes, we want to feel like our ankle is stacked over our hip joint, okay? Those are important things. Now, as far as down the line when I look at you, go ahead, set on up. Make sure that we just kind of have our shoulders just a little bit square or closed, okay? Right? And that's going to be, you'll notice that this left forearm is over top of this right forearm, just ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. And that gets our shoulders closed. If I do the opposite starts to happen, okay? Yeah. Very good, okay? Now, as far as a drill for what we need to kind of do for our takeaway, right, or our movement patterns, right, is I want us to get this kind of like little noodle right here, okay? As so, get the far end out towards the target end, okay? Get it right along your shoulders, okay? Get it here, find an object, 2.5, maybe 3 feet up, whatever works best for you, probably 5 or 6, 4 feet out in front of us. Sure. Nothing scientific here, okay? Yeah. But just kind of getting a feel for where we need to kind of be, right? The big thing is you're going to notice that my left shoulder goes down, my right hip goes back. Those are the two big things in turning around our spine. Boom, okay? What we're going to notice, as I said, we're going to notice that my foot wants to turn out. Okay, that's the pressure that we're putting into the ground, which is important, okay? And then as we kind of come through, we recenter and then come through. We'll get more into that later right now, but we're getting more into the backswing. A thing that you need to kind of work on is we need to do that in a mirror, okay? Making sure we see our movement pattern, what we're doing, okay? The other thing that we need to kind of work on just a little bit, and what I would do on video, is that we need to get to the point where we feel like our arms are getting more up and elevated, okay? So we can keep that left arm a little bit straight. You have a tendency of getting back in here really flat, okay? For right now, it can kind of work for what we're trying to do, just trying to get back to impact. But in the future, we really want to try to get you to get more up here, okay, getting our hands probably as far away from our right ear as possible in that section right there. You can see in the video, you're kind of like where your right shoulder would be, right? So that's just going to be something that maybe it just takes time for you to kind of get used to a little bit, but that's something that we kind of need to do in the future as we kind of move forward a little bit, okay? Yeah. Any questions, anything I can answer for you, anything on this end that we did?
No, I think this has been really helpful. I think I'll need to just remember to do the kind of hammering or
yeah,
because I still feel like I don't even really know I know I'm doing it wrong, but I'm doing like,
we call that early release.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you a little drill here. Okay, because I was kind of hoping that you would say that. Okay, so get yourself like a little impact bag here. Okay, and I'm going to give you a feel for what impact's going to feel like here. Okay, before we leave. Okay, so go ahead and set up to that bag like you normally would with a ball. Good. So what impact is going to feel like? Okay, it's going to be here. Yeah, that's going to be your feel for impact. Okay. Now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you kind of set up, and I just want you to lightly hit the bag and feel how you get into that position automatically. Okay, I'm going to move the ball right there, the bag right there. Just give me a small little hit into the bag. No, a little bit more than that. Give me a little wrist hinge or something like that. Yep. Yeah, you feel where you're at right there? You see where your hands are? Yeah. Let's do it again. Yes. Yes. Okay. So that's your second drill. Okay. I wanted to save that one for last. Okay. Because we can all get lost in that right there. All right. So if you got, Jeff Bezos, what I would say is get a grip minder for yourself. Okay. Get an impact bag, or if you've got like an old book bag around the house, or I don't know if you're married or something like that. Yeah, old book bag or something like that. Yeah. Throw some old jeans or rags or something in there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just something where you can kind of hit it and you get the resistance as you get in there. Right? I can guarantee you when you did that, you didn't feel that flip at all. Nope. Right? So that's going to be the big thing for you right there. Okay. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, Eric.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to get this video out to you probably in a couple days.